I'm going to show you just how amazing a fully engineered Python MK2 stellar pre-built ship can be in Elite Dangerous Odyssey. All at the cost of a zero rebuy when you make a mistake. I will say this is a very strong PvE build. However, if you wish to do PvP, I highly recommend that you consider getting different weapons. Yesterday I got asked a lot of questions about engineering these pre-built ships, and the most asked question was, can you do it? Yes, you can, and you can still have a zero rebuy cost as long as you keep those modules. Here's the thing though, this ship right here, this pre-built ship, if you decide to buy it, is highly geared towards doing PvE within Elite Dangerous. Can you buy this exact ship package and expect to go out there and compete with other real-life players in PvP? Why, yes, you can, my good commander, if you think that getting curb stomped over and over and still paying zero rebuy is fun. Yes, you can. But Hawks, why are you saying that? The ship's totally awesome. Yes, it's an awesome ship. Only if you want to be king of PvE and still pay zero rebuy. To be effective in PvP, you need to have fixed weapon points, not these gimbaled multi-cannons and pulse lasers. Yeah, no. You'll really want to have plasma accelerators or rail guns. They're almost required. So unless FDev stuffs a PvP variant of the variant within the ARC store, you're not really going to be able to compete with actual good players in Elite Dangerous while still maintaining a zero rebuy. Let's check out some of these stats on the Stellar Python MK2 pre-built. Now, as you can see, it has a relatively good jump range, a shield health pool, that's not too bad. The armor health as well as the armor rating's pretty good. And all the shield resists, well, they're up pretty high. Let's check out the engineering added to all these components, and I also added the experimental effects too whenever I could. For the multi-cannons, I went with overcharge on all 4 of them, and for the very first 2, I went auto loader. The third multi-cannon I went with corrosive shell, and the very last one I went with incendiary rounds. I went with the long-range pew-pews on the pulse lasers, and both are oversized just for that extra damage. Bruh, did I really forget to upgrade that to level 5? Anyways, let's hop over to the utility mounts. Now for the heatsink, I decided to go with just an extra charge on it for a total of 3. The first 3 shield boosters I went with heavy duty as well as super capacitors to really try to boost up the shield hit points. The last 2 shield boosters I went with thermal resistant as well as super capacitors in order to milk out some more shield hit points. Let's hop over to the core internals. Now technically you're not going to want to have lightweight alloys if you're going to go out there and engage in a lot of combat, but we sprinkled it with heavy duty armor as well as deep plating. The power plant is only upgraded to a level 3 overcharge with a thermal spread. We most definitely went with dirty drive drag drives for the thrusters. I went with an increased FSD range and mass manager on the frameshift drive. There was no way I was flying out to Colonia to get this all the way to a level 5 lightweight. You really can't go wrong with a charge enhanced power distributor with super conduits. I decided to get level 3 on the long range scanner. I just didn't want to go any higher to add any more weight to this ship. You only get a size 4 fuel tank with this, so it's kind of brutal. You can only make 3 jumps. Let's hop over to the optional internals. Now, it's pretty cool that bi-weave shields are actually decent in combat. I went with reinforced shields as well as fast charge to make it even better. For all my hull reinforcements, I went with heavy duty as well as deep plating. At this point, you should probably consider not giving a crap about having a zero rebuy and then replace this with a 3A fuel scoop. If you don't do this, every 3 jumps you're going to have to find a station or somewhere to land and get fuel over and over. I didn't do any engineering to the module reinforcement or the repair Olympic controller, but I did leave them in there. Yesterday I forced myself to have all those vanilla feels of not changing any of the modules while I flew around everywhere to add all the experimental effects and the engineering to these things. Definitely want a fuel scoop because you can only make 3 jumps in this before you must get gas or find an extremely close star. And if not, well, I'm sorry man, it's time to blow yourself up. Adding the 3A fuel scoop only increased our rebuy up to 39,617. Now that's not too bad, but considering that's only a single module we're talking about here. Whenever you sell one of those pre-built ship modules, you can never buy them back from any space station anywhere, so keep that in mind. Now, if you do end up getting one of these ships, I honestly recommend that you don't get too hung up on the zero rebuy and trying to maintain that. Start out with it, and then figure out what you want to change, and then change it and just pay the rebuy. Let's hop over one system away to LTT 4487. They actually have quite a few resource extraction sites here. I should most definitely be able to find a fight. At this point, I'm really wanting to see how awesome this ship is fully engineered, as well as see how much money I can make in a high resource extraction site before I run out of ammo. As I totally murk everything in this Python Mark II, let's talk about what this ship really truly means to a brand new player to Elite Dangerous or the seasoned veteran. The brand new player to Elite Dangerous is going to be able to immediately hop right into all PvE combat. While they learn how to fly and manage their pips in combat, they're going to gain valuable experience, all at a zero rebuy cost if they don't change any of their modules. This really does turn into the perfect situation where a brand new player to Elite Dangerous can just hop right on in there, get out there, make some real money, learn how to play the actual game, and not have a whole lot of horrible side effects like getting ganked over and over and over and losing every single penny they have while they're just trying to learn how to play the freaking game. Now, I have a little confession to make. When I first started playing Elite Dangerous, I was kind of terrified to play in open. What I wanted to do was just learn how to play the game, because at that point I could barely land and take off as it was. Back in those days, Elite was really starting to take off. Now, I'm not even kidding you, but with that comes the sheer volume worth of buckets of tears where everyone's crying online about getting ganked in open. So who were the majority of the players that were literally drowning the entire world in tears? They were mostly new players. Now, I'm not even kidding about that. Most of them in brand new ships, a lot of the times in a freaking Sidewinder, getting ganked when they're just trying to learn how to play. Honestly, how fun does that sound to you as a new player experience? Because that kept me out of open, because it didn't sound like any fun. Having a ship like this with a no rebuy or a very low rebuy cost is definitely going to alleviate a lot of the fears of new players about playing in open. A lot of these players are still going to go out there looking for that PvE experience, but they still want to be able to play the game with that slight anxiety in the back of their mind where they're worrying that anything can happen at any given moment, and that adds a whole new dimension to your gameplay. The getting ganked pill is basically a whole lot easier to swallow when there's less consequences. And with less consequences, I highly imagine that there's going to be a lot more people playing in open once we're able to purchase these pre-built ships. I just want you to fully and completely understand, if you buy this ship and you play in open against an experienced PvPer and they have a really good weapons loadout, while you decide to keep the current loadout that comes with this ship, you're still going to get completely and totally destroyed. It's just that you won't have to pay anything to try again. There is literally that big of a difference between what is optimum in PvE and what you definitely need to be having in PvP. Because if you don't be having it, you're going to be trapped in an episode of a Groundhog's Day where you just keep getting curb stomped over and over and over, no matter how hard you try. Now, realistically, at this point, I've already raked in several million, and we're probably fixing to make at least $1 million off this guy since he has shield bosses on board. So I've already saved up enough money to have a couple rebuys already if I had to purchase all the modules and the ship myself. That basically means a new player shouldn't really have to rely on a no rebuy cost for more than a day, really. Some people learn faster than others when they start playing a game, but if you play every single day for a few days, you're going to have a whole pile of money in Elite Dangerous. Now, eventually, every little space noob is going to turn into a veteran if they stick to it long enough. So what does this ship truly mean to a veteran that has been playing Elite Dangerous for quite some time? First of all, a veteran player is not even going to give a space crap about a zero rebuy. What they will care about is the Python Mark II is actually more maneuverable than a Fertile Lance. They will most definitely love the amount of utility mounts that comes with this ship. Unlike the Fertile Lance, you won't have to manage your pips so intently between engines and shields and weapons and engines and engines and engines and engines in order for it not to feel like a flying brick. With that being said, I believe if you put up two commanders against each other who were basically equal in skills as well as weapon loadouts, the one that was flying the Python Mark II might actually have an edge, and I don't know, we might actually have a new king when it comes to PvP. Imagine having a new ship that is comparable to the FDL and you actually get to sit in the center of the ship instead of off to the side. Oh my goodness, you have no idea how awesome that is. Oh wait, never mind, I'm pretty sure you do. Against bigger ships, this thing's so maneuverable, you can just stay on the backside all day long if you feel like it. But yeah, I was never in trouble this entire time of having my shields go down even once. After each fight, I basically just threw all my pips into systems, recharged up all the way, and then looked for my next victim. We're running low on ammo now and end up killing about 6 or 7 more ships, but let's go see how much we made while we were over here for just about like 30 minutes worth of playing. This actually should be a pretty decent stack of cheddar here. You know what, that wasn't too bad really. We ended up making just a little bit under 8.3 million. Those Nana Bows and Hope bounties were actually ported over to the test servers from what I did on live, so I didn't do that here, but thanks for the money. Here are the costs of what it's going to take for me to refuel, repair, and rearm my ship. So realistically, in a PvE situation with a zero rebuy ship, you're standing to make a whole heck of a lot of money with zero risk. Will ship packages like this convince you to play in open? How do you think having the ability to buy ship packages like this will affect the actual gameplay in Elite Dangerous Odyssey? Do you still view the selling of ship packages to be pay to win? However you feel, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments below. All my love to my Patreon and YouTube channel supporters. I love you, Commanders. Peace.